I wonder what the time is. Well, you know what the time is? It's before our time. G'day, ladies and gents. I am one of your co-hosts, Nick Storm, the Australian icon, and joining me,
live from Los Angeles, it is the Hollywood idol, young Anthony himself. Nick, if you didn't feel American and patriotic yet, I swear to God, this was the WrestleMania for you, because it is March 24th, 1991. It is Superstars and Stripes Forever, WrestleMania 7. We got a doozy.
We got a doozy, yeah. If it wasn't for the fact of Hulk Hogan being so patriotic, this would have been the solidified Mania where I inject red, white, and blue and Eagle's blood right into my bloodstream. But guys, if you don't know what this show's premise is all about, before our time, basically, we were too young. We were in what, Anthony? What were we in?
My daddy's sack.
Every time you say it, it pops me. My daddy's sack. And we're in our daddy's sack, and we haven't watched a lot of these Manias, so we get to watch it, and we get to bring you guys along for the ride. We review each Mania with fresh eyes. Most of these with fresh eyes. So far, these have all been with fresh eyes for us. And so I'm really, really excited to get into this. It's WrestleMania 7, baby. Last Mania was what? The first Mania of the 90s, I should say. And this is the second. So very, very excited again. This is Anthony. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited that we can finally just talk about this and move on from this Mania, because holy shit, this was not a good WrestleMania. But nevertheless, it is time to get into this episode the only way that we know how, and that is to start by hopping on that road, the old road to WrestleMania. Welcome to that road to WrestleMania. And we have a few stories that we need to cover before we get into the meat and potatoes of this WrestleMania 7. And that is first by talking about a name that we really haven't discussed whatsoever on WrestleMania yet. And that is Sergeant Slaughter. Now, we all know Sergeant Slaughter as, Mr. USA. There's been a lot of USA characters so far, but Sergeant Slaughter, big soldier type character. But we get a Sergeant Slaughter here that you would be surprised to see this Sergeant Slaughter. So Sarge spent 5 years in another company called the AWA. And when he returned in 1990, Sergeant Slaughter announced that he had turned his back on his country, and he became an Iraqi sympathizer, and he was a follower of Saddam Hussein. He also brought over General Adnan, who would be his advisor. And this whole story coincided with the increasing tension in the Middle East, all of that, which would eventually lead to Operation Desert Storm and American involvement in the conflict, and everything was going crazy around this time. So what we would get is Sergeant Slaughter actually winning the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble 1991. More on that in just a bit. And that same event, Hulk Hogan won his second Royal Rumble, or was it his? Was it this? Yeah, his second Royal Rumble.
Hard to keep count. He wins all of them. He wins every fucking thing.
I know. Hogan wins everything. Hogan must pose. Hogan wins the Royal Rumble 1991, and he overhears in his celebration that Sergeant Slaughter and General Adnan were defacing an American flag in their celebration of winning the championship, which only means one thing. Hogan needs to put a stop to this. And all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan becomes number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Just on that, on alone, Oh, someone's messing with America, brother? That ain't going to work for me. I'm facing
that doesn't work for me, bro.
Hulkamania. Calling it Hulkamania instead of WrestleMania, dude. And we would get an interesting feud between these guys leading up to Mania with some segments that you don't really see nowadays. And it's Sergeant Slaughter kind of burning Hulk Hogan memorabilia and merchandise. He would burn a Hogan poster, a few other things, and he would go on to burn a very iconic symbol of Hulk Hogan. That's one of his shirts. And as I always say, I can only do so much justice by talking about it. Nick, why don't why don't we show people what I'm talking about? And that is time to showcase the burning of the Hulk Rules t-shirt by Sergeant Slaughter by way of
Alfred Vision.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
General and I break Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 7. You and all your Pukamaniacs and Hulkamania are gonna go up in flames.
Dude, I don't know what else to say. You know, there are two things that wrestling needs right now. Let's talk about
Alfred
AEW.
Vision.
Alfred Vision, three things. Alfred Vision's one. And if AEW wants to get those ratings up, I guarantee, one, just have Powerhouse Hobbs say trick ass bitch on every single show. And number two is more fire. We need more fire in angles. This is, it was a great visual to see Sergeant Slaughter burning this t-shirt. But I want to ask you, you know, we live in a more PG era of WWE and wrestling in general, where you don't really get these type of angles where it's dipping into that, you know, a very controversial topic. You get them every once in a while, but for the most part, they kind of keep it very minimal. Like it'll be more just American pride than it is like, you know, attacking countries that we're at war with, or, you know, nowadays we'll see more of just the America versus everyone else, America versus Russia, America versus Japan, all these different places. But in terms of just controversial angles that deal with these real world situations, what's your take on them? Where do you feel that wrestling crosses the line? Is there a place for these angles in wrestling? Are they necessary? What's your kind of take on all of this?
I mean, back in the day, I mean, I feel like the 90s weren't so long ago, but when you think about it, they were how long ago? 30 years ago? I can do math. I was in pre-vocational math in high school, okay? Do not come after me with that. But, you know, I feel like it would not fly nowadays, especially with, like, cancel culture and just everyone just, like, kind of owning up to a lot of stuff and putting a lot of stuff, stop to, like, kind of sensitive topics like this. But back then, when it was such a burning topic, I feel like it was probably in the news, like, constantly, just a bunch of this war stuff going on as well. I say a bunch of this war stuff, but I wasn't there. I don't know. A bunch of this war shenanigans. You know? I don't know. Something happened. But, you know, yeah, I feel like it made him the ultimate heel. When it comes to like a perfect babyface like Hulk Hogan in this instance, he's not the perfect babyface, but for this angle, he is. I mean, obviously he is. But yeah, I don't know. It's a kind of fine line for me. I don't know if you could pull it off nowadays.
Yeah, it's a slippery. Oh my god, I can't fucking talk. Slippery slope for sure. I always think that wrestling is at its best when it tips into reality. You know, dips its toes a little bit into that. Yep. You know, what's going on in the real world. But something like this, of course, like, you know, a different time period, like there's a different mentality about the war and everything. But like, it feels like it's a little bit too much. Like you could go about it in a way that isn't so, you know.
You could just do what you've been doing the whole time, you know, like, oh, Russia versus, you know, something like that. But
yeah, because it also like alienates a very, you know, specific part of your audience. And look, I don't know like how, you know, the distribution of the WWF worked around this time. I don't know if they were global. I'm sure they were. I would imagine that they were, you know, broadcasting in multiple different countries. So, you know, if you're in Russia or if you're in Japan and you're seeing, you know, people from your country being portrayed as these villains, you know, does it turn you off? Like, do you want to see them win? That's always something I wondered. Like, what do other people in other countries who view wrestlers who are portrayed as villains, you know, how do they view them? Like, are they cheering them? I don't know. Yeah. If you're from another country and you are, you know, are viewed as the villain by WWF, let us know. How do you feel about
Yeah.
these wrestlers? Let us know in the
Yeah,
comments
it's-
below. But
it's
we do
fucking
have to
strange.
move on because we have some other topics to discuss. One of these coincides with the WWF Championship, and that is we're getting a match between the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage.
Dude, look, I fucking feel like Randy Savage. Look at this.
I know, you got the hat, you got the glasses, the pose.
I got
Look at you.
unintentional hat. Guys, I'm wearing this hat because I'm having a bad hair day, but also to honor Jesse Ventura. This is the first Mania having Jesse Ventura on commentary, and I'm sad about it. I'm sad, so I've got the little cowboy hat. You know, he dresses up nicely, but I am Macho Man in this instance.
Well, I mean, I hope you wouldn't be Macho Man in this instance because you would be going up against the Ultimate Warrior 1991, and no one wants to go up against the unbeatable Warrior. And just to make things worse for both of these guys, they got to face each other in a fucking retirement match. That's random. Let's talk about it. So
he's gonna send one of them to the home. He's gonna send one of these competitors. Are gonna send the other two at a retirement home. They have to spend the rest of the days. That's what I gathered from this, right?
yeah, their hair is going gray. They're gonna start shaking their cans when they're drinking their orange juice and everything. It's gonna be awful. But
At the ripe age of 30.
now
90s,
that's when
baby.
you retire. 30? Oh, ridiculous. So Macho Man and Queen Sherry, well, I should say Macho King, because he's still riding off this gimmick, by the way. Macho King and Queen Sherry are in the hunt for the WWF Championship. It's the title that, Macho Man had 2 years ago, and he's looking to get that championship back.
He's got FOMO.
He's got FOMO, man. So Macho Man's demanding a championship match. Queen Sherry is practically begging Ultimate Warrior multiple times for a world championship match, and every time Warrior declines. So what does Macho Man do? Well, he says, all right, no problem, Ultimate Warrior. I will see you later. Enjoy your championship. And you're damn right he doesn't do that. Macho Man wants his championship run. So what does he do? This man keeps interfering in every single one of Ultimate, I don't know if every single one, but majority of the big matches that Ultimate Warrior goes in, Macho Man is there to interfere and just cause shenanigans. This leads him to the Royal Rumble 1991, which I was just talking about just a few moments ago. Sergeant Slaughter, Ultimate Warrior, Queen Sherry, I forget what she does. Maybe she pulls the leg of Ultimate Warrior, or you would think I would do my better research on this, but basically distracts Ultimate Warrior. That leads to Macho King throwing Sergeant Slaughter his scepter. Of course, what's a king without his scepter and a crown? So he throws him the scepter, hits Ultimate Warrior with the scepter, and he becomes the world champion. Ultimate Warrior's pissed, and he challenges Macho Man to a retirement match. So here we are. We are at a retirement match between two of the WWF's biggest stars around this point. I got to say, Macho Man, I feel like I've never really appreciated his work as much as I do watching these past few Manias. Like, we're talking about a guy who had probably the greatest match of all time, that many consider to be the greatest match of all time, with Ricky Steamboat. Went 4 matches in the tournament at WrestleMania 4, had our best match, well, like in the top 3, top 2 category at WrestleMania 5.
Yeah.
This man's doing it all. I feel like he's one of those unsung warriors where, like, everyone talks about the greatest wrestlers of all time. I feel like Macho should be in that category, but I always feel like he just misses that tier. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Macho Man? Go ahead.
I think it's a nostalgia. People are like, oh yeah, I remember Macho Man. He was good back in the day, watching as a kid. Macho Man was great. But yeah, watching these back, he is the one carrying a lot of these. Like, I think to the Ricky Steamboat Macho Man match, I think to my number one of my All the Marbles, which is Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man, which is just a fantastic goddamn bout, and I loved it to bits. And man, it was just, I don't know, I think he does not get his flowers as much as people think they, I don't know, a lot of people give him his flowers, but I don't think enough people give him his flowers because, and man, look at his swag, man. He's got some great fucking sense and fashion. You know what I mean? Unbiased.
Dude, this is probably his best look. WrestleMania 7. Like,
oh yeah,
dude, the white and the
first
purple.
defining moments, Macho Man figure.
Dude, the defining moments, beautiful figure. I always wished I had that figure, but I could never get it. Fucking even the matches that people really don't even talk about, like, George Steele at WrestleMania 2, the mixed tag match, like those were both matches that Savage carried. And they were pretty, suitable matches. Like they were really entertaining. So
Macho did his part in all those matches and then some. It was just like there was some other things in it that affected it. But it's just like Macho Man carries his own and then some. You know what I mean? He does a lot in these matches.
Yeah, absolutely. So insert transition that deals with Macho Man and The Undertaker, because I can't think of anything right now. The Undertaker, it's his first WrestleMania as well. So Undertaker is revealed to be the fourth man on the $1 Million Man's Survivor Series tag team. And the guy just goes crazy. He comes out with Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard. God, I can't stand Brother Love, man. Comes out with him. That was his original manager. Eliminates Coco Beware as his first pinfall victory in convincing fashion. He eventually gets eliminated via countout, which was pretty lame, but whatever. And then on the Brother Love show, Brother Love passes The Undertaker to Paul Bearer, who is going to be the new manager for The Undertaker. And Undertaker is unlike anything that we have seen in the 6 years before our time. This is always mentioned by wrestling fans. Oh, The Undertaker was this gimmick that, it was unlike anything around its time. But I'll talk about it later on. This is completely just left field from any type of gimmick or character or wrestler or wrestling style or entrance that we have seen so far. And I want to ask you, because Undertaker is my personal favorite wrestler of all time. Where do you rank The Undertaker? I know we kind of just had the conversation with Randy Savage. Where do you rank The Undertaker all time as far as just the complete package, greatest wrestlers of all time? Where do you put him on your list?
He's definitely in my top 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just have a lot of connection to a lot of other wrestlers around the time and stuff like that. But as far as integral to the actual business, top 3, probably even number 2 or 1. I think John Cena maybe, or The Rock is in that top 3 as well with Taker.
Yeah.
I feel like just for mainstream audience, it's such a he's the phenom, it was such a brand spanking new kind of gimmick, and no one really treaded waters like that back then. So I don't know, it's very, very cool. Definitely in the top 3, I think. Most integral wrestlers, because he stayed in character for how long too, and only retired a year or 2 back. So he had a long career too, man, and he fucking kept it up. He American badass here and there, but then he went back to the dead man, dude, and I don't know,
able to
he's
reinvent himself. Yeah. I would say
100%.
Undertaker is absolutely the greatest character of all time. When it comes to being the greatest wrestler of all time, there are so many different options that you could go with. I would say that he's also in my top 10. I feel like when it comes to wrestling style and character and promos and gimmicks and all of that taken into consideration, there are so many other wrestlers that I could argue putting above him. But you said it best, one of the most influential wrestlers in not just the WWE, but in wrestling period. I feel like a lot of the characters
you don't have some of the success of the WWE nowadays if you don't have someone like a Taker,
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of the gimmicks that you see nowadays without that first kind of, because he was one of those first in the WWE, at least. If you want to jog your memory back to all of the other companies, I don't know any of that, but for at least the WWF. From that 1985 to current day, he was that first kind of scary type of gimmick. You weren't really getting a lot of this stuff. So he ushered in a lot of those spooky-esque gimmicks that you weren't seeing around this time. It wasn't anything with, patriotism or, unlimited charisma and machismo. This was outlandish, but it worked so well. It was during a time that a lot of these gimmicks were, not working, for lack of a better term. They were very gimmicky and they just fell flat on their face. This could have been another one of those gimmicks. But the fact that it was Mark Calloway pulling this off, a man who was so dedicated to this gimmick that he stayed in character, like you said, when he was just out and about, I think that's such a testament to why he is one of the most influential wrestlers of all time. So
dude, even in interviews, he would just wear black shirts. He would wear black shirts whenever they were touring and stuff. And then you see interviews of him nowadays. He's like, don't tread on me, brother.
Yeah.
Type of guy. Fucking, it's so funny to see. But I reckon Undertaker would be the top one of all time for me if Rolling by Limp Bizkit came out in 1991 and he came out to it in this
Ooh.
Mania. Dude,
I love
rolling,
the
rolling,
I,
rolling, with this gimmick
I like
as well. would just
the
not
other
work.
American Badass theme song more. The "You've done it now, you've gone and made a big mistake." I fucking love that song. Just some quick, brief notes before we get into the rest of our WrestleMania experience. I talked about it with you a little bit before we went on, but last WrestleMania, they were hyping up 1 year in advance that they were going to be at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. That was not where we were at. We were instead at the Los Angeles Sports Arena, which was the arena that they were at for WrestleMania 2. And the way that the WWE tells it, the reason why they downgraded was because Sergeant Slaughter was receiving death threats from pro-American marks for their kayfabe allegiance, for his kayfabe allegiance to Iraq, and they wanted to move everything to a much safer space and downgrade the arena. But the real reason is that WWE didn't sell tickets. They weren't going to sell out a near 100,000 seat stadium in Los Angeles. So they moved to a much smaller arena by around February of 1991. It was a pretty fast turnaround for when they moved the arena. I guess it was a little bit of both. Like, they were getting some death threats, but it was mainly because of the tickets. So it was probably just best, for them to move away from that.
That's the fine line we're talking about. You're getting death threats, dude. It's fucking, just give it up. It's character work. Just give it up,
I
dude.
know.
It's like, at that point, it's like, okay. Like, wrestling's fake. That's when I as Vince McMahon, been like, hey, it's not real.
Listen, pal, we make movies. And just a few
like
quick
this, right?
call-outs.
Like this, Anthony.
Yeah.
We make movies.
Just a few quick call-outs here. This show not only marked the first WrestleMania without Jesse Ventura, but this was going to mark the final WrestleMania matches for both Marty Jannetty and Jim Neidhart. So this is the last that we would see of the Rockers. This is the last that we're going to see of the Hart Foundation. So keep that in mind. And what else do we have here? Let's talk about just some quick little statistics here. Not really stats, but whatever. Births this year, 1991. We got Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho, Santana and Ortiz were both born this year. Mandy Rose, your current NXT Women's Champion. Alexa Bliss was born this year, as well as Hangman Adam Page. We also have some debuts, some wrestlers that you're going to see making their wrestling beginnings, starting up things here in the wrestling world for Road Dogg Jesse James. And that good old Disco Inferno will be starting this year, as well as some retirements. Some that we are kind of more close to would be Rocky Johnson, of course, the father of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You may know of him. Harley Race retires this year. Of course, King Harley Race. We saw him in some matches against Junkyard Dog. And Special Delivery Jones finally calls it a career. After being in the shortest match in WrestleMania history, SD Jones says, "I've done enough. This is my end to my career." So have at it, SD Jones. Enjoy your retirement.
Hats off to you, but then a hat right back on, baby. Thanks.
Got to keep that hat on. Got to keep it on, especially because of the Macho Man. You got to keep that hat on now. Nick, are we ready to get into the show?
I think it's about time we get into the granddaddy of them spanking all. Welcome to WrestleMania 7. It is March the 21st. 21st? Wow,
boy.
that's a
new number.
I just made up. 24th, 1991. We are greeted with a nice intro. It's the American flag with Vince McMahon saying, just fucking screaming, "World Wrestling Federation Champion Sergeant Slaughter versus the immortal Hulk Hogan."
I need every single one of my days to just begin with Vince McMahon just painting out the rest of my day. Anthony is going to wake up and bake pancakes, and then he's going to go to school. It's February 24th, 2023.
Make sure to brush for 3 minutes and floss. But Howard Finkel introduces Willie Nelson to sing America the Beautiful. That I'm convinced the national anthem doesn't even exist anymore. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Willie Nelson has the Macho Man drip on. If you look here, he has like the bandana, he has the glasses.
Was that a Hulk Hogan bandana that I saw? Is he a Hulkamaniac?
I think so, man. Dude. I think Donald Trump's a Hulkamaniac. Willie Nelson's a Hulkamaniac. Who is?
Oh, we'll get to Donald Trump in just a
bit.
Dude,
that's the duality of man. Donald Trump and Willie Nelson are both Hulkamaniacs. That's the duality of man. But yeah, dude, Gorilla Monsoon welcomes us to the Los Angeles Sports Center Sports Arena, and I wrote, dude, we're in Los Angeles. Jesse Ventura would have loved this. He just would have. And it just makes me sad that we won't get him going. You know, I was in Predator. You know,
Terry Tyrell and the other one.
Monsoon.
Monsoon.
I wrote here, we actually get Jim Duggan joining Gorilla Monsoon for commentary on this first match, and all I say is, get lost, Duggan. What's
Duggan.
Happening? Dude, I have not liked... I'm going to be honest, he's probably a great guy. I just haven't been a fan of anything on WrestleMania. Maybe I have to venture out into something else other than WrestleMania. Jim Duggan just doesn't hit it for me.
Dude, I loved Jim Duggan in the Ted DiBiase match in the tournament.
Yeah.
Hell, I love Jim Duggan in Legends House when it first started in 2014 on the WWE Network for just $9.99. He was great in that show. But Jim Duggan is the most pointless gimmick of all time. Dude, we have Hulk Hogan. He is your Patriot guy. What is his gimmick? What does he do? What does he contribute to the WWF? I don't understand.
Yeah. Anyway, I wrote, this is painful. This is going to be very painful. And I wrote, this is what is replacing Jesse Ventura right now. I was just really just fucking mad. I was seething, man. My blood was boiling.
One thing that I forgot to mention in the little opening package for the the U.S. flag and everything, I love how Vince introduces Sergeant Slaughter, and he's like, makes it this big thing like, Sergeant Slaughter! And then Slaughter just goes, and that's it. And that's all he does. It's a very
not supposed to feel emotion. Just make a noise or something. Exactly. But dude, and then we start out with our first match of the evening, and my God, this is a doozy. This is Haku and Barbarian versus the Rockers, baby. This is a great goddamn match. I was a big fan of this going into it. We get a backstage interview with the Rockers, and just to start off the match here, and I wrote here, everybody just hates Bobby Heenan, and I just think he's misunderstood. He's just listen, he's just a manager. He's just trying to get his paycheck at the end of the day. He's a family man.
Aren't we all?
Whenever I hear the phrase family man, there's this one clip of Iron Sheik on Howard Stern. He's talking about Hulk Hogan. He goes, he's a family man. I'm a family man. He says family. It's just great. I need to link it to you after this. But there's a big pop for the Rockers entrance. Some great consistent leapfrogs by Shawn Michaels. You know, I didn't even know going into this is going to be Jannetty's last Mania that we'll see him on. But what a way to go out, I think, you know. First burp of the day.
There it is.
And you know what else is another first of the day? First visit to the well.
Going to the well, baby.
Barbarian went to the goddamn well. I know you picked up on that goddamn.
I wrote that in my notes. I was ready, locked and loaded, and if you didn't mention it, but I knew you were going to.
Yeah, and of all people, Jim Duggan said it, and I was like, okay, maybe he's not that bad.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah,
maybe
he can stick around.
He can stick around if he keeps bringing up the well. But this is a great opener. You can tell the crowd is super hot for this already. The crowd is loud, super loud compared to last year's Mania already. When we compare the opening match of the last Mania, it was just super dead, I thought. Fantastic double teaming by Haku and the Barbarian here, taunting the crowd, feeding on their boos. Jannetty is selling everything with huge impact. Jannetty gets a hot tag onto Michael. Sean's firing off with offense on Haku, and the crowd is loving it. Crowd was so loud I could barely hear commentary at times. Flying crossbody off the top rope by Michael scores the pinfall. Bro, oh my God. Gorilla is trying to just cut back to the backstage, and Jim Duggan is just yelling over the commentary after the match is done. He's just like, oh! And then Gorilla Monsoon is trying to throw it back to the fucking backstage interview with Mean Gene.
Poor Gorilla.
Jim Duggan just keeps talking. Poor Gorilla. But yeah, what do you think of this match? It looks like we're on similar wavelengths when it comes to this.
Yeah, I have to give this 3 idols. This was a great start to WrestleMania. I would put this up there as probably the best opening match of a Mania so far. I mean, the Rockers are so in sync. We've seen it multiple times against, the Twin Towers and all the matches that the Rockers have had so far. I love that the heels, are taking advantage of the ref, during the distractions. Like, for instance, like the referee stopped Shawn Michaels from coming back in a second time after he entered the ring for a tag team move just minutes before. That kind of shows that just a little storytelling. Like, he allowed Shawn in for one move, but, the referee's just like holding him back now, like, don't get in the ring this time around, which allows the heels to take advantage. I like little bits and pieces of storytelling like that because it allows you to follow what's really going on in the match. It's not just continuous moves or anything. I love the high flying moves. Excuse me. I'm like reading my notes and I'm not reading it at the same time. I love that a high flying move cost Barbarian the advantage. I always mention it, but like when a heel who is normally a powerhouse goes for a high flying move, I just think that is a great way to finally, turn the tables and get the baby faces back in the swing of things. So I was all for that. Overall, I thought it was just a very standard match, but a good standard match. Like, good stories told. The crowd was very behind the Rockers, like you said. And yeah, I had to give it 3 idols. That was a very banger of a match.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, I gave it 3 icons, dude. Like, there was nothing wrong with this. It was a match, but then it was also like a little bit more, like the 2.5 area is like, okay, that was just a match. There was nothing wrong with it. Nothing that great about it. This was really great though. I really wanted to give this like 3.5, but I went easy on it. And maybe I should have given this 3.5 because we move on to the next match. Man, it's Dino Bravo versus Texas Tornado.
Here we go with fucking Dino Bravo, man.
Yeah, I don't know why I gave this 1.5, but let's just soldier on. So, I wrote, who the hell's on commentary now just talking? I have no clue what's going on anymore. But before this match gets underway, there's like a backstage interview with Mean Gene and our celebrity guest host and all that stuff for this evening. Mean Gene makes the ladies excited, which I wrote down. Alex Trebek and Mean Gene are going back and forth with some great Jeopardy banner as well, which I thought was really, really funny. Made me giggle a little bit, cackle here and there. But back to the match.
Yes.
There's a young Mike Chioda reffing this match.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you spotted that. Yeah. I noticed that and I was like, oh my God. I've got an eye for referees for some reason.
You caught Tim White. You caught Mike Chioda. Good on you.
Yeah. I just can't tell which Hebner is reffing sometimes. Otherwise, I would as well. But dude, this is our first Texas Tornado appearance on Mania as well. I've never seen anything of Texas Tornado. Kerry Von Erich. The Von Erichs I've heard a lot about.
Yep.
Which Von Erich is this again? This Kerry?
I believe this is Kerry.
Okay, I got it right. Look, don't hold me to it. I still have no clue. But Bravo doesn't wait for the bell to ring. He just starts throwing punches. The match is underway. God, Dino's selling is so awful. Yeah, I'm gonna disrespect Dino so much. I'm gonna call him Dino Bravo because that's how you fucking spell that shit. What is this? What is this? The Flintstones? What is this? The Flintstones, dude? Dinosaur Bravo Magnifique. That's his full name. I'm convinced. Dinosaur Bravo Magnifique.
I get that.
And if it's not, take it up with my lawyer. But Dino hits the sidewalk slam, his dastardly finishing maneuver. The Von Erich kicks out at just call him Von Erich. Texas Tornado kicks out at 2, which I didn't expect. Texas Tornado has the claw on, bounces off the ropes, hits a spinning tornado, spinning right hand, and it gets the 1, 2, 3. Can't believe Dino Bravo is still called the world's strongest man as well. I've never seen him once body slam Andre, and in kayfabe, Hogan would just make sense to be that guy, and even hell, fucking Kamala, who hit a better looking body slam on Andre than Hogan did. So yeah. I'm really confused with what's going on in the 90s and the 80s. Just take me the hell out of here. But yeah, dude, I gave this a 1.5. I think I gave it a 1.5 just because the babyface won and the crowd was really happy about that, and so that made me a little bit happy. But I can
I get
see the half. I can see the half idol rating.
This is somehow significantly better than any Dino Bravo match that I've seen so far, and that is saying something because I only gave it half an idol. That half is really just for the Texas Tornado pulling out some cool moves, and the babyface got the win, and he kicked out of the sidewalk slam, and that's all I care about. He is not the world's strongest man. It makes
Fuck
no.
you, dinosaur, bitch.
Fuck
ass.
him.
Go back to the
I
prehistoric
bet he's a
age,
great
my
guy
dude.
though.
Yeah, I bet he is. But I don't know what am I missing something about Dino Bravo? I don't know if there's probably like some matches that aren't on Mania that are really good of his that I just
There must
haven't
be.
seen. There must be because I hear a
absolutely
lot
must
about
be.
Dino Bravo. I hear a lot about Tom go, Dino Bravo, you know he's great. He's a great dinosaur Bravo. He's so good.
I mean, he's pretty consistent. Like we've seen him since WrestleMania.
He's consistently
3.
awful.
He's consistently awful. But he's been around for like 4 years now, if that,
Yeah.
maybe a little longer.
Yeah, dude, exactly like that. But yeah, I gave this 1.5. Let's move on. Some more great wrestling to talk about here on this match, or on this
Yes.
card, I should say. And this match I thought was pretty freaking great. It's the Warlord versus the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. No clue where Dynamite Kid is at this point. Probably in Japan doing the circuit. Who knows? Backstage interview with the Slickster and Wardlow. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
That's what I get for just half reading my notes. I did exactly what you did. I was half reading and I wasn't kind of reading it. So Warlord and the
Wardlow.
Slickster. Wardlow and the Slickster are backstage. All I can think about is money. I love the Slickster. Do you know there's an LJN of the Slickster?
Is there really?
Yeah, I really want to get it. But anyway, that's
Honestly,
besides the point.
I might need to get the Slickster LJN.
If you guys are
figure.
watching at home and you have unlimited amounts of money, gift Anthony and myself both the Slickster LJN. Thank you
Yes,
very
please.
much. But I'm writing here. Mean Gene is with Davey Boy Smith and Winston. Who the hell's Winston? Where's Matilda?
New dog up in here.
New-
Where's Matilda?
New dog update. New dog reveal. Where's Matilda? I don't know,
New
but
dog
Winston
who
is
dis.
just as cute. New dog who dis. But yeah, dude, British Bulldog's getup is so drippy. He's got like the hair beads and everything and stuff
Hell
like
yeah.
that. There's two powerhouses in this match, and because there's two powerhouses in this match, what does Gorilla say? He says, "The irresistible force meets
the immovable object."
Exactly. Because of course, just because of course, right? But there's a great belly to belly gut wrench suplex by Ward. Fuck, I was gonna say it again.
Oh my god.
Warlord.
He can't do it. He
Warlord.
can't do it.
I can't fucking do it. Fuck, it's Wardlow.
Does that mean
So-
Slick is his MJF or what?
Oh shit, it might be. Great belly to belly gut wrench suplex by Warlord. Looked
There
very
you go.
very crisp. For the most part, Warlord is on the offense. This is gonna be so hard for me to say. Davey Boy is trying so hard to get that pile driver off, but Warlord is just too strong. Warlord has the full Nelson on Davey Boy, but can't lock the fingers. There's no quit in the British Bulldog, Gorilla Monsoon says. The expressions by Smith trying to break out of the Nelson was just beautiful. It was like cinema.
Yeah.
It was actually like he looked like he was, because you know when in those moves how like there's not a lot of pressure going on. It's like just pushing back and forth, shoot. But yeah, it really looked like he was trying to get out of it, and it looked great. But yeah, the British Bulldog does the unthinkable, hoist Warlord on his shoulders with a running body slam right onto the mat, getting the pinfall, and Warlord kicks out at 3, which we'll see a lot of in this Mania. A lot of people kick out at 3. But yeah, British Bulldog eventually gets the win. I thought it was a 2.5. This was, like I said before, I give 2.5 to the it was just a match, nothing bad about it, not so great about it. It just kind of happened. But what do you think?
No, I gave it 2, but like I really enjoyed this match. It was a strong 2 at that. Warlord's offense. Did I say Warlord? That's a new
Look,
one.
it's happening. It happens to the best of us, dude.
Warlord's offense is just that big man, just kind of slow. Wasn't really much into his side of the offense, but once Bulldog took control, I was all for it. I really like the finish. It makes Bulldog look strong, but it also keeps Warlord it keeps his move strong as well because he didn't lock in the full Nelson or whatever. And I don't know why they don't do that at WrestleMania. Like every full Nelson that we have seen, it's always he didn't lock in his fingers. Just lock him in. You can win the match. Just
You need
lock
help?
in
You need
your
a tutorial?
fingers.
Just look at this, dude. Look,
Step
take
1,
something
lock
from...
in your fingers. Step 2, win the match. But yeah, I like the finish. I like the way that Bulldog just fucking brings his arms down to break out of the move. It's a solid 2 for me. Also, who wins in a full Nelson battle? Hercules Hernandez, Billy Jack Haynes, or the Warlord?
We need that match. I think we need
We
that
fucking
match.
need that match. Can you do like a 3-way full Nelson? Is that possible? We might need to try that out one day.
It'd be like a human centipede full Nelson kind of thing. Like someone's got the full Nelson, then someone's got the full Nelson on him. You know what I mean? And my hat falls off. I'm getting so worked up about the full Nelson. My favorite move ever. No,
Me too.
that's a funny fall.
No, my
funny
favorite
fall.
move is
Definitely-
the full Nelson when the fingers aren't locked. That's
Yeah,
even better when the fingers are locked.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, dude, I think Hercules would win that, no doubt.
I think so.
He doesn't win something else though, but we'll get to that later. But do you want to get into the next match here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, dude. This is our first Nasty Boys appearance.
Yeah.
Look at them. They are very nasty. They're so goddamn disgusting and gross.
So
Look how
nasty and
yuck.
gross.
So fucking ugh. But Mean Gene is with the Nasty Boys and Jimmy Hart backstage. Mean Gene goes, "Hey, give me back my hanky," and the Nasty Boys just start blowing their noses in poor Mean Gene's hanky. And dude, Mean Gene's the biggest babyface in this. I'm like, his poor hanky. What's he gonna do now? But there's an interview with the Hart Foundation retaliating, stuff like that. They're keeping the titles, they're saying. There's a big pop for the Hart Foundation when they do come out. And during the Hart Foundation's entrance, a 10-year-old Macaulay Culkin is shown in the crowd.
Holy
and
shit.
I
didn't catch that.
Gorilla Monsoon. It's like on the network at least. There's like how they have little segments and stuff. There was a whole segment, like a little thing of
hilarious.
Macaulay Culkin, But yeah, it was great. And Gorilla Monsoon said he doesn't want to be home alone with the Nasty Boys. I'll tell you that. And I was like, oh, you're so cheeky. No one wants to be home alone with the Nasty Boys anyway. But Nasty Boys are on the offense for the start. Brett comes back and gets some great offense. Makes the crowd pop. I have no clue what other word to use for offense, so I'm just going to use the word offense. And Brett tags out to the anvil. Crowd's fucking losing their minds. Nasty Boys are so slow. What's going on here?
Yep. Very
I felt
slow.
myself tuning out when they got to the third rest hold. So it's quite. I see. Yeah, I know. The first rest hold, I was like, okay, it's just rest hold. Second one, I was like, okay, I'll get the benefit of the doubt.
I'll stay in it. Third one.
Yeah, I'll stay in it. Third one is like, I'm out of it. But Brett is getting annihilated. Brett gets a tag on Jim. The ref didn't even fucking see it. Jimmy Hart throws his megaphone, but the Nasty Boys hit each other with it. Jim is taking everyone out. Oh my god, I fucking had a stroke. Hart Foundation get off their double team move just like normal. But Jimmy Hart's helmet has entered the battle, and Neidhart gets whacked with it. Nasty Boys are your new tag team champions. Did not expect this at all. What do you think of this? I give this 2.
Dude, I gave this 3 idols. I loved this match. First of all, I love Jim Neidhart's little pink cap that he wore in his entrance. Random.
Yeah.
But it was like the tiniest little cap. It barely fit on his head. Maybe I'll go as Jim Neidhart for Halloween this year. Anyways, Brett takes so much offense in this match, and he sells it superb. I always mentioned in Classic Match Classroom that what makes Brett's matches so good are the little things that he does. Like when he, gets thrown into like an Irish whip into the turnbuckles, and he hits those fucking turnbuckles hard. Like whether it's chest first or back first, goes all in. Love that. I love the storytelling in this match. And that is like, I know I've been mentioning it like throughout the entirety of the show, but like this is the best era of tag team wrestling. And no one can tell me otherwise. This is the best that I've seen from tag team wrestling. And like, that's not just, I know AEW, they have in like the 5-star matches and your Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks and all of these. But like, to me, you get consistent stories with these tag teams. And you see it especially in this Nasty Boys match. The ending, I love how they did the ending, you know,
Yeah.
not seeing Jim tag in and all of that. Like, it just works so well. It makes things easier to follow. And it's almost like you're watching, you know, like a show, like a movie happening in front of you with the wrestling in between, which is awesome. I think that's so cool.
Ultimately,
and I
that's
love
what
how
you
they're
want,
able.
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how you're able to pull it off. And with Brett, you know, one of the greatest in-ring storytellers of all time, like, you really can't go wrong with that. There was a dude on the hard cam when the Nasty Boys win. He's fucking pissed. He's wearing a white shirt, and he jumps up, and you just see him go. Like, he is so mad. I was like, I feel you, dude. I want to see the Hart Foundation again, too. But yeah, I give this 3 idols. I just love it when a tag team match just tells a good story, and that's what we got here.
I think the thing that lost me the most was just, I don't know, the pacing of the Nasty Boys. Like I said, they were slow, and they were slow enough to mention it, for me to mention at least. And just the rest holds, I think, hurt it, in my opinion. But overall, great tag team match. Like you said, this is a golden era, don't mind the pun, of tag team wrestling, right? And I would have loved, like, just thinking about it now, my favorite match on this card is probably the Rockers match, right? So far, at least, for what we've talked about, and maybe for the whole match card, who knows? But I would have loved to see Hart Foundation and the Rockers. I don't know if that's out there at some point.
It's got to be out there, but I would have loved to see that at Mania.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's probably out there, but a WrestleMania would have been so fucking good for it.
You know what's good about the show also is that, like, we're not watching the things in between. So we're kind of formulating these dream matches with the guys that we are seeing. And it's like, I wonder if this match takes place. And then you just search it.
Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan they've had a match. And that was my dream match like a couple of years ago. Like, they've had a match.
Like, so, I love that we can, like, find our favorites and kind of pair them together. And somehow there are matches between the guys. I think that's so cool. Like, I want to look to see if there's a Hercules Hernandez versus Hulk Hogan match, just for the fuckery of it. I'm sure there is, but
probably on Dino, you know, superstars or some shit. I wouldn't doubt it, you know. But yeah, dude, let's get into this next match.
Let's do it.
Which you can intro us into.
I think that was more than an intro right there. That burp. I think.
Fuck. Just get to it then.
All right, let's get into this next match, and it'll probably be the most divisive match between the two of us on the night. So let's get into this.
The following contest is a blindfold match scheduled for one fall.
Man, that music gets me so fucking hyped.
Banger, bro.
Look at these ratings. Look at this, and then if I could even, dude, imagine my hand just pops through. Oh, damn it. But look at that rating.
Freaky.
So I'll just start off by saying Bruce Pritchard sucks.
Yep.
Not even Brother Love, just Bruce Pritchard's. I can't even fucking say it. Dumb name.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I thought there's already great story going into this. We saw a video package about this match. The eyes of Jake Roberts is the story going into this. He's blinded. I don't know if you saw in the video package, but I think he had contacts in. His eyes looked fucked, and that was such a cool visual.
It was so good, so freaky, but it was great.
Yeah, so freaky, and because like the cameras are such shit quality, you can't like see the little intricacies that maybe it's fake. It just looks so real. It was great.
So good.
But Jake is also in a backstage interview and in this video package, and he's so goddamn sweaty. He's dripping. But when he comes out in the entrance, you know, huge pop for Jake Roberts. Rick Martel's already in the ring. Jake is pointing and letting the crowd guide him to Martel. Because this is a blindfold match, they both had bags over their head, right? They could probably see through the bags, but kayfabe, no, they goddamn can't, all right? So Jake Roberts has the bag on, and he's trying to feel for Rick Martel. They're both blindfolded, and the crowd is guiding Jake Roberts, which I thought was really cool. This helped my rating.
That was cool.
I thought this was cool. Like, I'll get into more of the crowd stuff. I was gonna get ahead of myself. God damn, I need a chill pill, I think. But crowd is super loud for this. They're really into it just because they're a part of it. They feel a part of it. Martel is trying to find his way to Roberts. Gets in the way of the ref, which he almost decimates. Rick is reaching in the corner and tries to feel around. but for Roberts, but comes across Damien and he gets super spooked. I mentioned the crowd is so loud I can't hear commentary, right? In the other match, Heenan and Gorilla can't even hear each other. They're like, I can't hear what you're saying. Because of just how like loud the screams are for like, you know, the pointing and leading him to the other opponents and stuff like that. So Martel grabs a steel chair, whacks the ring post with it. That was really smart. Jake plants Martel with the DDT. Can't find Rick. You know, he's looking around. Oh my god, is he even going to pull the pinfall off? But eventually feels around, covers Martel to score the pinfall. I wrote this was fun, unique, and it got the crowd really, really involved. Which, when you're at an event attending in the audience, that's all you want, right? It makes you a part of the show. It makes you a part of the match. And I didn't think the match dragged on. I think it did what it needed to. And I was heavily sports entertained. So I can look at it from that. From a match point, criticism match point, this is a fucking awful match, right? It's just a bad match. But I was thoroughly sports entertained. Anthony, what'd you think of this?
You know, this match kind of fits my theory of like when you watch a match in person, it is so much better than watching it on TV. Like whenever I go to wrestling shows, it could be like the worst event of all time. And because you're there feeling that energy, it feels like it's like a fucking Wrestlemania, like the greatest show of all time. But because I'm watching it from, you know, my MacBook Air in 2022, I catch the little things, such as the fact that Jake puts his hand in the mask, and when he does that, his fingers reveal the mesh that he'll be able to see out of.
God.
So that was
immersion.
Like it shouldn't have been included in my rating, but like that kind of factored into.
I mean,
the
some
rating,
things
like,
just don't translate well as well, you know.
Yeah, like that immediately just like took the magic out of it for me. Like if it was really blindfold, then I would be like, all right, that's kind of cool. But like, I don't know, it was a little shaky on that. My first note, and pretty much my only note for this match, was just, good God, LMFAO, because I did not know what this was. I was entertained towards the end. I got to give it a star due to Martel's selling throughout the entirety of the match. I think he is just well and away some of his best work from a character standpoint is here. I mean, like, the fact is, like, if we would have just gotten a regular match between these two, you're looking at a 3 to a 3.5. From what we've seen so far of Jake and Rick Martel, like, there's no way that these guys wouldn't have tore the house down. So that also kind of just, I wish we saw something different. And maybe we have seen something, again, this kind of, you know, what's out there outside of the WrestleManias. Maybe we have seen this match already. So this is kind of a rematch. Who knows? So I gave it a 1. I was semi-sports entertained by Rick Martel, but like for guys that you've been pushing at Mania, like Jake Roberts and like the model Rick Martel, I feel like a simple one-on-one match could have done a little bit more. I feel like it was a little bit too gimmicky for these very, you know, strong characters that you have in your upper mid-card type area. If you would have just let them go, I promise you would have gotten probably the best match on the night. But regardless, I was pretty entertained as well.
Yeah, sports entertained, thoroughly sports entertained. Let's get into this next match, and it is a doozy.
Yeah, wait a second. It's not a gong, but it's the WrestleMania bell. I feel like that's pretty. It's fitting. I don't have a gong, unfortunately.
You know what? It is fitting. And before we get underway, is there a certain?
There is. I just had a fucking stroke just there.
Dude, we're stroking out. I'm
stroking
smelling
out,
burnt
man.
toast. Anthony's smelling burnt toast.
There is something that we need to get to before this match, and that is the fact that we have our first entrance of a certain character that we talked about earlier on in the show. It's Jimmy Superfly Snuka. No, I'm kidding. It's the Undertaker. By way of
Alpha Vision.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
His opponent, led towards the ring by Paul Bearer from
Man, hearing that bell toll, dude, for the first time in Mania history, chills. Literal chills, man. This is where the streak all began, you know? It's such like a... I don't know, it was very, very cool to see it go back to the roots, because I have not seen this. I have not... I've only seen the Undertaker streak matches from when I was watching, you know, onwards and stuff like that. But yeah, hearing the bell toll for the first time, fucking
So good.
iconic. Dude, a camera keeps cutting to a terrified child during Undertaker's entrance, and it was so funny. Just completely just fucking shitting himself. Taker's completely stone faced too, looks amazing, complete in character. The way Taker hits the ropes to deliver a clothesline was so explosive. Snuka is selling everything with such impact. Taker delivers that delicious tombstone pile driver, picks up the win, looking strong as hell in this match. This kid's gonna be something one day.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't see much in this guy.
Put him on dark.
Yeah.
AW dark
Put him on dark.
Buddy, sorry.
Cut the lights out on him. Put him on an elevation with Parker Bordeaux or whatever his name is in the trust. Yeah, Undertaker is going to be the next trust buster with VSK and Arya Davari. Anyways, God, I love this show. Anyways, this was the match that I was this was my most anticipated match on the night, I would say. And once I heard Jimmy Superfly's music, because I think he was in the ring already, I just let out an audible, "Let's fucking go," because I was so hyped to see Undertaker's first WrestleMania match. And I texted Tyler from Count It Out, our good friend Tyler. I literally got like a chill when I was watching that entrance. And I know it's like cliche to say that, like, oh, okay, you gotta chill as Undertaker, whatever.
Chill.
Chill. I legit like everything about it. Because like I kind of alluded to it in the Road to WrestleMania, like we've seen the past 6 years of WWF, the culture around WWF, the
Hulkamania running wild, you know, same old shit. So this is
same old shit. So when you hear that gong and you see him come out, you see Paul Bearer with the freaky faces and everything that he's doing. You see stone-faced Undertaker, and you see the crowd reactions.
Sorry, had to.
And you see the crowd reactions, which is such a good detail of showing these scared faces. Like, best entrance. This was so good. Everything about it, storytelling, character. I am so excited that we have finally entered the Undertaker era of WrestleMania. It's going to be good. So this match was pretty standard. You know, you knew you weren't going to get much because they were still doing the squash matches for Taker around this point. And this was a good, just enhancement match for the Undertaker to go against a legend like Jimmy Snuka. I love the commentary. Let me just call out commentary real quick. I know Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon are an elite commentary duo. Nothing touches them. Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon are very, very close because they have some great lines here. I forget who says what, but one of them is like, "Why does the Undertaker wear gloves?" And like the Undertaker is like choking Jimmy Snuka up against the corner, like he's in the corner choking him against the turnbuckles. And I think Gorilla is the one that says, "Well, I guess he likes to wear gloves." And that's his reaction to that.
Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon is so guilty for like a lot of those. Like he just says shit.
He's just like, "Well, I guess that's the reason why." The irresistible force meeting the immovable logic. I'm surprised we didn't get that in this match. But regardless, such a good, the match was okay. I gave it 2 idols, but those 2 idols were really just the whole package. If you had I couldn't give it too much because like I didn't want to overrate it, but like, the entrance, the crowd reactions, him no selling, which was so good, like legit zombie vibes. Everything works so well. Loved this. Great presentation for our first Undertaker match.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I gave it 2.5. Just like you said, the whole package. It did everything it needed to do. It was fucking great, man. I loved it. This was a strong 2.5 for me. I feel like
Hell yeah.
couldn't give it a 3 because there wasn't just much meat on the bone. But obviously, it didn't need
Yeah.
meat on the bone at all. And it got the point across. So 2.5 for me. Let's get into this next match here.
Let's do it.
Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior.
We have Macho King, dude. Macho King. He's still the king, dude. Apparently,
Still the
he's still the
king.
king.
Can we talk about
versus-
this entrance real quick for Macho
Oh
Man?
yes, yeah.
Dude, such an iconic look. The purple and white comes out on a throne with Sherry. So good.
Yeah, dude. It was great. The likes of MJF. No, I'm kidding. But big inspiration for Macho Man is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. No,
Exactly.
but Elizabeth is spotted in the crowd for this. Bobby Heenan goes, "Wait, is that?" And then sees Elizabeth in the crowd, watching over. Obviously they were having quarrels at this point. Sherry was with Macho King, so huge pops for Warrior though when he comes out. Crowds invested in this match. I mean, how could you not be? On paper, Macho Man versus Ultimate Warrior is money. It's
Dream
massive,
match.
right?
Hell yeah.
Dream match right there. Macho King got caught, went to the well too many times, says Gorilla, which is our second well mention of the night. Fucking love it. Just give me more. Give me more. Macho knocks the Warrior into the ref. Savage is holding Warrior for Sherry to land a dive from the top rope. Warrior moves out of the way. Sherry knocks Macho Man out. So there's some great interference by Sherry here. And just trying everything to just, be dastardly and be a little heel, a little cheeky bugger. And nothing works. This match, after this point, it just kind of felt like it just went on. It kind of felt like it dragged a little bit.
Yeah.
And as I say that, Macho hits not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but motherfucking 5 elbow drops from the top rope. My God, he's dead. We need a stretcher. Warrior kicks out. What the fuck's going on? This is God himself. I'm pretty
Ultimate
sure
Warrior
Ultimate
just became
is God
Johnny
himself.
Gargano in 2019. Just started ticking out of all these finishers.
Exactly. Oh, look, Macho Man loves Maxwell Jacob Freeman, just like how Warrior loves Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't know I was watching
They go-
Takeover New York. I thought I was watching WrestleMania 7.
Exactly. It's all Takeover New York at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
and then I even wrote this. This is a whole note right here. What the fuck, brother?
Okay.
What the actual fuck, brother? The fuck? Are you serious? What even the fuck? That's complete. Just
Sums
because
it up pretty much.
Like 3, I understand kicking out of 3 elbow drops, and it still makes Ultimate Warrior look strong. But kicking out of 5 either makes the elbow drop look weak, or it makes Ultimate Warrior seem like literal Zeus himself has been risen. Right?
Right.
And I don't mean Zeus from No Holds Barred. No way. I mean fucking, Midas or something. Not even Midas. I don't know what I'm saying. That's not a god. He just turns shit to gold. I have no clue what I'm talking about anymore. Warrior's going crazy. I'm going crazy. Warrior's on a roll, giving clothesline after clothesline. Press slams him onto the mat. Does a splash, and Savage kicks out. And I said, if this was a match today, it would have already been given 5 stars.
Yep.
Anyways, another 5 minutes goes by. Macho King fell out of the ring 10 times. Anyway, Warrior wins with a shoulder block. Lol, literal John Cena move. Sherry's attacking Macho Man after the match, and Miss Elizabeth grabs her by the weave and throws her the fuck out of the ring. Get her out of here. And I'm written, yeah. And then Macho Man reunites with Miss Elizabeth, which was very, very cute. I gave this 2 out of 5. I think I would have given this 2.5 if it didn't drag a little bit, and I noticed that. I don't know. I felt like it went on a little bit too long. It could have been easily 5-8 minutes shorter, maybe I thought, and still do everything it needs to do. But it makes sense. And also I did not get 5 elbow drops. That was weird. But what do you think of this?
I have a lot of thoughts on this match. I don't want to get into them in just a second, but I feel like it would be fitting if we showed probably the best moment on this WrestleMania to our viewers. And that is, of course, the reuniting of Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man Randy Savage by way of...
Oh, yeah, for Division 9, yeah.
That made me uncomfortable.
Sorry.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
You
What a woman and what a man.
King.
Dude, that was the only great part of this match. I want to call out also Ultimate Warrior. So he comes down to the ring and he's slow, like he's not running, very out of character for him. And he's got this.
People are like trying to grab him and shit.
Yeah, so he's got this great like jacket on with the tassels on it, and people are grabbing on the tassels, and like you can tell Warrior's getting like shoot hot about it. And at one point, they catch him on the camera, and he literally just says, "Get off!" And then he gets into the ring. He like you could just see him mouthing, "Get off!" And then he just gets in and starts shaking the ropes. That is a man that is ready for a retirement
he would sound
match.
as well if he said that. That's exactly how he would sound.
Yes. Savage is great. Like it goes without saying. I love the bit where Sherry gets thrown into Savage. That happened a lot in the mixed tag team match last Mania, and it happens here too. That like Warrior just throws Sherry into Macho King, and I think that's awesome. It's just a good way to play into the whole, Sherry getting involved. And speaking of Sherry, she is definitely the main source of story here, because like when you think about it, Sherry, she really doesn't want Macho to retire because she's the queen. Like she was kind of handpicked by Macho Man to be the queen, so you don't really want Macho Man becoming retired because that kind of leaves Sherry out in the dust. So she's doing everything that she can to get Macho Man to win this match, which I think is a really nice layer of storytelling there. Savage also fills the role of Andre the Giant here and gets caught up in the ropes. He does the nice little rope spot there. I don't know if you caught that. And the ref is very quick to help Savage out. But anytime that Andre was caught in the ropes, he was there for 5 years. So thankfully, Savage got out of the ropes pretty quickly. I don't know what I'm missing because Dave Meltzer gave this match 4 1/4 stars. On Cage Match, this match is rated like an 8. This is
Dude, I actually looked up the star rating of this match as well. Which is great. That's actually we're connected at the brainstem, I think. After this, I was looking up the star rating. I was like, is there something I'm missing? Because I didn't think this was great. But of course, Dave gives they're kicking out finishes left, right, and center. Dave
exactly. That's actually a very good point.
Yeah,
that is a good. I never even thought about that. It probably is the kicking out of the finishers. Match is fine. Like it's just a standard match to me. Like you put it perfectly. If you cut out like 8 of those minutes, like we always talk about how Warrior matches are very short, like they're to the point. But for some reason, they give this match like damn near 30 minutes, and it's just repetitive. Speaking of repetitive, 5 elbow drops. Let me talk about this for a second. 5 elbow drops, and Warrior kicks out. I get it. It's he kicks out of 5 elbow drops.
You don't get it. No one gets it.
I thought I got it. And no one gets it. I thought I got it. And let me tell you. So 5 elbow drops, Warrior kicks out. Warrior does the splash to Savage, and Macho Man kicks out. So in my head, as I'm trying to like figure out what the story here is, I'm thinking this is like playing into the whole retirement thing, that both of these guys are like getting older, which means they're getting weaker, so their moves aren't as effective. So like that's why Warrior's like calling out to the gods at one point, like he's screaming at the top of the arena, and he like tries to leave the ring, like he thinks he's not worthy or something. So like in that regard, I kind of get it. But like 5 elbow drops, like you couldn't just do it in 2 or 3 or 1. You had to do 5 times. And I understand, like, it's the fact that, yeah, Savage isn't going to wrestle again after this anyways. You might as well just let him get all the juice out of his finisher while he can. But like, come on, like 5 times, and that was actually the intention. I read about this that in where is the note here? I forget what the exact note is, but Macho Man was actually like fully intending on retiring after this match. Like after this, he was going to be 100% done. McMahon wanted him to stay around, but like he was just completely done with wrestling. And, he would go on to do like commentary and stuff after this match. So I get like, just getting the final moves out of the way, like just do the elbow drops, but like fucking 5, dude, like this, it was so dumb. Like I just did not like that whatsoever. And then the finish.
What if Warrior just did like 5 splashes and like 5 presses?
That would have been hilarious. I would have given
stars.
that 5 stars. Yes. And then we get to the finish. A shoulder block and a foot on the chest. Like, good night, everyone.
Retirement home. Retirement home. Bye-bye, Macho.
Yeah, go to the retirement home, Macho, because if you're gonna fucking lose off of a shoulder block, you can leave. You
If
take
I
all
was
of your
Sherry too, I'd be attacking Macho.
Yeah, Sherry's got to leave too. Take all of your WrestleMania 4 memories of winning the tournament and tag teaming with Hogan and go shove them up your ass. Because if you're gonna lose off of 3 shoulder tackles, which even more than that, every time shoulder tackle, Savage gets out of the ring. Warrior has to throw him back into the ring. He does the same little hype up, shoulder tackle, gets knocked out. Like, it was such a bad finish to this match. I had to give it 2.5 idols, but what a woman and what a man. Great ending after this match. So good. That is really where, like, that half of an idol comes in. I would have given it 2 as well, but, like, this was such a good
very fair.
Just a nice little, but this was probably the best moment that we've seen so far on this Mania. Nothing's coming close to this. The commentary, and we always say like the irresistible force meeting the immovable object, like that's the, one of the greatest calls of all time. But he says it so many times to the point where it's like you hear what a woman and what a man. Like Gorilla, as far as I'm aware, is not saying that for anyone else, which makes this moment so special. Savage, like people are crying. Savage, he goes on to like lift the rope for Elizabeth, which I think is a nice little, tying the bow on this moment. And that is a good WrestleMania moment. And honestly, if we ended WrestleMania with this moment, we might be talking about one of the better WrestleManias so far. 2 great tag team matches, the debut of The Undertaker, fucking Warlord and British Bulldog having a banger, and ending it off with Elizabeth and Macho Man reuniting. That's a great WrestleMania. But Nick, we didn't end WrestleMania there, did we?
We didn't. We had another like hour and a half of this, actually. Before
Yep.
we had another hour and a half of this, there was like 10 minutes of backstage shit after this match that I just skipped through. I skipped right through. I didn't have time for this.
There was a
am I
really
gonna
good
see
segment
fucking
with
Bob Uecker again?
there was a good segment with Regis Philbin and The Undertaker that you should go and check out because
Okay.
like Regis is trying to get some questions out of Undertaker, and while he's doing that, Undertaker is measuring Regis Philbin for his casket, and he's like, he's telling like the measurements to Paul. He's like 34, 39. It's so great.
That's actually fucking great. I'm gonna watch that. But yeah, dude, we have a match next, and it's and then after that match we had no.
Yeah,
kidding.
we gotta just start like moving along with these matches because like we're getting some duds here. Oh my god,
We're getting some duds, dude. Insanely quiet reaction for Demolition. So fucking weird to see. Insanely quiet reaction for Tenryu and Kitao as well. Like, I wrote this is a pee break match. You can see a ton of seats in the front row and all around the building is just empty. And but I write Heenan and Gorilla make this entertaining. Right?
Yep.
I don't know if you caught this, but Monsoon and Heenan had like a little back and forth. Gorilla says, Kitao needs to make a tag. And then Heenan says, I think he should throw in the towel. And then Gorilla says, "What Tao? Catal is the guy's name. You'd have a problem if his name was Fred." And Heenan says, "His name's Fred Catal? Silly name for a Japanese wrestler, Fred." I fucking love that. Oh my god, it made me laugh so.
Dude, they have such
like
good
he didn't
chemistry.
said it
It's
so
insane.
like sincerely. It was like, his name's Fred Catal, like so genuinely. But yeah, Demolition lose via a power bomb. I didn't even know which one was Tenryu, which one was Catal. Call me racist. We didn't get any fucking information on these wrestlers at all going into this. So,
Yeah.
that was this. Yeah.
I gotta just give a quick rant because I want to move on from this. But what the fuck did you do to Demolition? I don't know what
Right?
the story was behind like Axe because he wasn't there. I don't know if he was part of Demolition at this point. Like he wasn't in the backstage promo or anything. Like you bring in Crush, who is not good. Like I'm sorry, I don't like Crush. And I've seen 5 minutes
Axe is
of
a
him.
lot better.
You get rid of their entrance theme. You turn them heel. They were the most over baby faces tag team wise in the company.
Dude,
You put
yeah.
Mr. Fuji with them again. Like Axe and Smash worked so well because Axe took all of the damage, and then you had that Smash hot tag, which was so good. You saw that perfectly with the Heenan family match or the Colossal Connection match. They three-peated at WrestleMania with the World Tag Team titles. And then they lose to two guys that you probably won't see ever again in the WWF. I think there was a partnership between, I don't know, I don't think it was New Japan, but it was some type of Japanese wrestling company around this time.
Might have been All Japan or something.
Something like that, yeah. So I guess that's why Tenryu and Kitao were on the show. But like, Demolition, man, they were one of my favorite tag teams. Like in this,
Yeah, dude. What's
they
fucking going on?
jobbed
Like,
out here. God damn.
If I was
Can
to
we
get
move on from
Demolition
this?
figures, dude, if I was to get Demolition figures, I would not get Crush. I would just get Axe and Smash, and that was
I
it.
do have Crush, and I need to sell this Crush after watching this match.
You
Apparently, it's a
have
rare
just
figure, so I'll get
Crush?
some money off of it too. But regardless,
You have just Crush.
I have just Crush. I couldn't find Axe and Smash.
That's fair. Oh, look, that's fair enough. Honestly, you can just
Fair
pretend
enough.
that they're Axe and Smash and not Crush. There you go.
Yeah, true.
We have a next match, Anthony. Let's get into it.
Let's do this. I'm so excited to talk about this match.
Yeah, me too. This is Mr. Perfect versus Big Boss Man for the Intercontinental title. Dude, we're seeing Big Boss Man as a face for the first time in Before Our Time history. This is great.
Yes.
And in a backstage promo, he
Oh wait,
goes,
that's not
"You
true.
heard-"
He went up against African Dream last week. He was in that quick squash match.
Oh, fucking, that's how I forgot about it. There we
I
go.
know. I
Well,
mean,
second time
he
we're
was
seeing
pretty forgettable,
babyface
so.
Big Boss Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
This
But,
is officially the first.
This is,
big
yeah,
Big
to
Boss.
me at least, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me as well.
In a backstage segment, in a backstage interview, Big Boss Man says, "You hurt my mama's feelings, you hurt mine." And I was like, "Oh hell yeah, mama's boy, let's go." And but guess what makes this match special? You said the Macho Man and Elizabeth reuniting was great. You said it was the best. No. Lord Alfred Hayes is on commentary for this match. Yes, Avalanche. The Big Boss Man is going up against the Mr. Perfect Wrestlemania 7. Lord Alfred Hayes is on commentary for this match. Fuck yes. Oh my god. Did not expect this at all.
So
I was zoned
happy.
out on my phone for the entrances, and then I hear the most heavenly familiar voice. And I didn't even hear, "Sir Lord Alfred Hayes," by Gorilla. I just hear...
You just hear his voice, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was literally on my phone, I didn't have any interest in this match, and then just instantly after, I don't know. But dude, fucking Big Boss Man grabs the hair of Mr. Perfect when we're underway in the match and just swings him around by it, which pops me
Dude,
like
so good.
complete.
It's so good.
So good. Big Boss Man is in great shape here. I think he's in the best shape we've ever seen him, dude. He's
Yeah.
like, he's got agility, he's got speed, he's fast paced, fucking incredible. It's nothing like we've ever seen. He's precise. I'm loving Alfred Hayes. I'm having a good time. Boss Man starts whipping Mr. Perfect, and the ref just watches it happen. Who is this? Rick Knox? Popped Anthony. There we go. That's all I wanted for that.
That was so good.
But Mr. Perfect throws Boss Man headfirst right to the steel steps, but Andre comes out to assist the Big Boss Man. Mr.
Hell
Perfect
yeah.
gets fucking knocked out by Andre, holding the IC title. It's a for sure win for the big boss man, but he just can't get the pin. And Haku and Barbarian attack boss man. Match is over. Ringing the bell. DQ, obviously, boss man wins. Mr. Perfect retains the title. I thought that this is probably the ending that you should go with if you want to keep Mr. Perfect as the champion.
Yeah.
I didn't see any problem giving Big Boss Man the title here at all. Did not see a problem with it.
Definitely.
He's over with the crowd, and I think him as a champion could be good. He's probably won it at some point. I don't know. We're only watching WrestleMania here, so it's behind closed doors most of the time. But what do you think of this match?
I loved it. Loved this match. A very strong 2 idols here. Was considering 2.5 with the finish. Like I frown upon like giving high ratings to like a DQ finish unless it's really warranted. But energy from Boss Man, like you mentioned it, like he's so energetic here. He does the Baron Corbin swoop around the ring post spot, which I love seeing. And he did better than Corbin. I thought no one could do it better than Happy Corbin himself. I just wrote in my notes, this is so good because like between perfect selling and Boss Man's energy that you didn't really expect to see out of him, because this is a guy who was paired up with Akeem, the African Dream, for the longest time. And as we all know, the African Dream does not move. He doesn't like to run. He likes to, like, this is the most movement that we'll get out. I feel like you do it so well. Like I'm looking at myself doing it and like, you're spot on with that. Anyways, dude, like perfect
the
selling.
Australian Dream.
The Australian Dream. There you are. And then I just write in my notes, oh my God, what the fuck, Andre? Because I thought the last that we saw of Andre was last Mania. I guess it was just the last in-ring appearance for Andre because we saw this man come out. He didn't look in good shape. I'm gonna just address that. He
was tied up in the ropes for a whole year. So
that's true too.
That
many years he was tied up in the ropes. He, just like very slowly strolls out there, but like he's still got that personality to him. Like Perfect's trying to get the belt from Andre, and he's just like no selling him. Finally hits him with the belt. A lack of a proper finish, of course, took away from a 2.5, maybe even a 3. But the inclusion of Andre was so cool. Like I love seeing Andre in the spot here. And just Perfect's great. I love everything that we've seen of Mr. Perfect so far, except for the Brutus Beefcake ordeal. But Blazer, Boss Man, A1 matches, dude. I love it. I love this match. Great IC title match. And
Yeah, Boss Man surprised me here, dude. And right after this match happened, I was looking on eBay for Big Boss Man Elite. So once you got the icon looking up figures,
that means you're in.
People that I've never watched before. That means you're in. You've got it good with the icon. But next match, let's talk about this for maybe 10 seconds at the most. We have Earthquake versus Greg Valentine, 2 of your favorite wrestlers in the fucking world. I don't have any notes written for this. I have the finish written for this. Earthquake shots on Greg to get the 1, 2, 3.
First of all, I'm very disappointed that you gave this half an icon.
I think I gave it a half because I'm liking Earthquake more. I think his finisher is so funny. He just shits on people. Like literally, he just takes a dump.
I was the biggest Earthquake fan in the 3 minutes that we watched this match. I'm not going to say anything about this match except for the fact that Greg Valentine is a babyface. Are you joking me? After 6 years of being the most bland heel of all time, now Vince says, you know what he needs?
I see something in him.
A face turn. I'm so happy Earthquake won this match. I was screaming to the heavens for Earthquake to just shit on this guy, and he did.
And he did, literally.
And then he has the balls. After the match, Earthquake's going to do his finisher again to him, and he rolls out of the ring. Greg Valentine, I hate you. I hate you. That's all I have to say. Just you motherfucker.
Wind it up, dude. Wind it up, Anthony. Yeah, there you go.
I got the hammer heat.
I think I tore my rotator cuff doing that. So let's get to the next. Well warranted. We got Power and Glory versus Legion of Doom. Hercules Hernandez and is that I don't know who the other guy is. Brooklyn
Paul
Brawler?
Roma,
Who knows? Fucking IRS. Who fucking knows?
IRS.
Big pop for LOD though. Also, what's Hercules doing? But Doomsday Device gets the 1-2-3, and Gorilla thinks this match ended in record timing. That's not the first time he said that. Every match has ended. I swear, there's one Mania at least where, that's record timing. This match was like at least like probably less than a minute, maybe a little bit over a minute. King Kong Bundy apparently did 9 seconds, so I don't know if there's record timing at all. But that's the match. I don't know why I gave it 1.5. I think because Legion of Doom won. But yeah.
Look at how they massacred my boy. Look at how they.
Sunglasses make a man
doing?
beautiful, Anthony. Look at both of us.
No. Yes, the sunglasses are a great addition to the Hercules Hernandez, but like, at least he didn't take the pin. That's all. I'm good with that.
Thank God. Yeah.
But I don't think we're seeing any more singles matches of Hercules Hernandez, and I might cry if we don't see a Hercules Hernandez singles match next week. I'm going to cry on the show, and it's going to be awkward. So I hope you're ready for that.
I'm actually I've been ready for you to cry since episode 1.
I've been
want to
ready
see all
to
my
cry
friends in
since
demise.
the start of this episode because this is awful.
Great.
Are we ready for this next match?
Yeah, well, speaking of awful, let's get into slightly a little bit better. We have the $1 Million Man versus Virgil.
The Virgin. He is definitely not a virgin. Have you heard those stories?
Oh my God, dude! Have you seen him nowadays? Oh my God, he's fucking. He'll fuck anything he finds. But, Piper is in the corner of Virgil. A great video package to show you how we got here. Virgil, essentially, this is how it all started. Virgil just doesn't want to touch DiBiase's toes, which is all I got. Doesn't want to rub the feet, man. He doesn't have a foot fetish. He don't trust like that. He doesn't swing that way, which is surprising for Virgil. Which he would very much be a feet guy.
He's definitely rubbing on some $1 Million Man feet nowadays. But that's besides the point.
That's besides the point. But Virgil's taking on a very boxer style moveset, kind of like stepping like really, Ted is getting outsmarted by Virgil constantly. But DiBiase applies $1 Million Dream, bell rings, and then Piper whacks DiBiase with his crutch. Piper can't stand, and Virgil helps him, showing the ultimate sign of respect between the two. This match just kind of happened. I think I was zoned out for it. I don't.
These last few Manias have really done a lot to tarnish Roddy Piper for me. Like just a bit. Like between the segment that we couldn't show last week, between the Piper's Pit segment with Morton Downey Jr., whoever, it's not looking good for Piper.
Give me a smoke.
Give me a smoke. I would like it if you didn't blow the smoke in me face.
Alfred Vision right there.
Dude, Piper's not looking too good. Apparently, he's going to have a really good match next week, which I'm excited for. But yeah, this was not good. This is what I picked up on in this match. Two things. One, the pacing of this show is horrendous. This was where I really was just like, can we just fucking get on with the main event at this point? It felt like everything after the Savage and Warrior match
No, Anthony, we need 4 duds in a fucking row. That's what we need. And then the main event.
It was ridiculous. Like, it felt like everything was just like anticipation building for the main event. Like, these matches did not matter. They didn't need to be on the show. Maybe $1 Million Man and Virgil, but you could have organized this card way better. It feels like there were like so many things moved around last minute, and all of the shit just got moved to the bottom of the card. But one positive thing I will say is Sensational Sherry. So I mentioned earlier, right, the story of kind of her not wanting Macho King to retire because, she's associated with him. She's going to be the queen. If Macho Man's not around, she's not the queen anymore. Well, this bitch, the gold digger that she is, she loses Macho Man, fucking kicks him to the curb. Not even an hour later, joins up with the richest man in the WWF. Like, I love this angle. It is so good. Immediately, you move Macho Man out of the picture, and then, like, you right on have something for Sensational Sherry to continue to do now that she's associated with the $1 Million Man. I think that is such good story. I keep saying such good storytelling, but it's such a good way to pivot off of a new angle, and it keeps that heel persona. I love it. Love what they did with Sherry on the show.
Yeah. This was this whole Sherry stuff was. I don't know what the fuck. I had a stroke, but I just. Fucking, oh my god. But I counted it up just then. Essentially, we have 5 out of 14 of these matches are squash matches.
Yep.
5 squash matches on the same card.
It's horrendous.
Why don't we do this on regular weekly TV? What's going on? Why do we have to do it on the biggest show, the most stupendous show of the year? Whatever. Next
It's
match.
WrestleMania 7. There's no way that the WWF is looking at the show as not the biggest event of the year. They call it the
7
biggest event of the year.
incarnations, and this is what we get.
And
You
this is
haven't
what we're
learned
getting.
Anything.
Like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
We're backwards in time.
Ridiculous.
If you told me this WrestleMania was from the fucking 50s, I would have believed you because of how just like out of touch this whole card is.
Speaking of which, can we just
yeah,
let's just show the graphic. This is the match. Can we move on to the main event?
I just said I have a bad feeling about this match, and then I didn't pay any attention. So
I did. I watched.
Mountie got the win.
Yes, that's it. That's all you need to know. It was
Okay.
bad. Tito, poor
event
Tito.
time.
But it's time for the main event.
Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan.
Let me tell you something for all my Australian icon maniacs you out there. Fuck, I fucked it up. Look, I get one take on these things. But anyway, you got a Hulk Hogan repping the Nick Storm shirt. Guys, if you want to get your own Nick Storm and Young Anthony merch, go to prowrestlingtees.com/tavern. We have a graphic of Hulk Hogan on this right here from the WWE All-Stars game.
Yes, we do.
Fantastic.
That's what happens when you
And
put
Sergeant
Hulk
Slaughter.
Hogan in the main event so many times. You have to make these graphics. You get bored of using the same fucking PNGs of Hulk Hogan. So
You should just
here
use,
are
like,
the
clip art
renders
next
from
time.
WWE All-Stars.
Just clip art, just some fucking like just awful like 2D drawing of it. But let me tell you something, Mean Anthony. We have a backstage promo with Hulk Hogan and Mean Gene doing all this stuff he loves best. I say it every time. This is how you get me invested into a Hulk Hogan match. I really wish this was earlier though in the whole card, so I could kind of more anticipate it because as we've seen in some of these earlier manias as well. Especially for the Hogan main events, there's Hogan promos spruced out throughout the whole show, which make me so freaking excited. And we get like 2 or 3 promos for Hogan in one Mania. It was great. But yeah, Hogan pulls out this line. This is new technology. This is Hulk Hogan from 1991. He's new technology apparently. But Hogan
Step aside
tears through
iPhone. Step aside VR headsets. The new technology that you need is 1991 Hulk Hogan.
I think, dude, if honestly none of us had like smartphones or anything, we just had a Hulk Hogan, like with like a
The
screen on his
H
chest or
phone.
something.
That's what he meant by the promo. The H phone, brother. Holy.
Steve
Holy
Jobs,
shit.
you should give Hulk Hogan his royalties, thanks.
Yes.
But and what happens in this promo? Well, Hulk Hogan fucking tears his fucking shirt off. He gets rid of that shit. He doesn't want a Nick Storm prowrestlingtees.com/tavern shirt. Instead, he wants to pose, and he looks like he's going to pass out when he does it. But here we go. Here comes a 10 million guest for the ringside around ringside.
Here we go.
I wrote, okay, Alex Trebek announcing the wrestlers to the ring is great.
Yeah.
Love Jeopardy. Good goddamn game show. My unbiased opinion. But people hate Slaughter, dude. I don't know what it is about it. Oh, maybe it's because he's with the Iraqis and people are
You
just.
think
that's
so?
Just the
I
90s,
feel like
baby.
everyone was very sympathetic with the Iraqis around
Yeah.
this time. I don't
Yeah,
know, maybe it's just me.
especially Sergeant Slaughter, the most sympathetic.
Yeah.
But Hogan makes his way to the ring with a giant fucking American flag. And a shoulder block by Hogan just kills Sergeant Slaughter. And like it looks like goddamn, like it annihilates him. Slaughter
good.
hits Hogan with the steel chair. Ref is completely fine with it. Lol. Match is just kind of going on now. The match is just happening. Both these guys are just slow. This isn't the high pace stuff that we've known from the early matches that we rated higher, like the Rockers, for example. Slaughter gets a close 2, thinks he's won it. Hogan chants are deafening though. Slaughter whacks Hogan on the head with another chair. Hebner completely fine with it, of course. Hogan's busted wide open. Fucking love whenever Hogan's busted open, especially in like Ruthless Aggression era, dude. Whenever we get busted open, I would fear for that little man's life. Great fucking visual whenever Hogan's busted open. It's always good. Slaughter has Slaughter.
Heath Slaughter.
You gotta put Hulk Hogan over. You gotta put the legends over, pal. Sergeant Slaughter, Heath Slaughter. But Slaughter has the camel clutch on, locked in. Hogan like hulks up while he's in the submission. He like fully stands up with Slaughter on his back. Is fucking awesome. But now Hogan's really hulking up. Big boot, leg drop, easy peasy. 1, 2, 3. Slaughter kicks out at 3. You know, we mentioned it before. Yeah, people are just kicking out at 3 on this fucking card. Hogan is your new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. How many fucking reigns does this guy have? Only 3. Anyway, time to pose. And that's this Mania. That's this Mania. He just poses for a few minutes while we get out of here. I gave this a 2. Wasn't the best stuff we've seen from Hogan. It did drag on a little bit. These guys were slow out the gate. And just, I don't know, it didn't have my full attention. I was checking my phone and stuff like that. So, I don't know. If you can grab my attention, like in a promo, but, I don't know. Something can't live up with this match, I feel like. But what do you think?
I didn't like this. It was around this time that I figured, like, I was barely paying attention to this match just due to the fact that I knew almost play for play how this was going to go. Like, we've seen so much Hogan that, like, you just know how the matches are going to play out at this point. And I guess that's cool. Like, you know, it just builds up that Hulkamania, you know, hulking up and everything. But, like, you just had him lose to Ultimate Warrior, put him over, new era, last WrestleMania. And now he's back in the main event of this Mania in a USA versus the world storyline.
Yeah.
It's the same formula that we saw years ago. We're still seeing the formula with the matches. It's just too repetitive. I know you're a big Hogan fan, and I don't blame you. I'm a Hulkamaniac too, but like to an extent I am. Like, you got to start moving on. And I know that like Savage was retiring at this point. Warrior must not have been doing well with the title. I know there was controversy with him backstage. I don't know exactly what it was. So I guess you have to go where the money is with Hogan. But I don't know. This was a perfect opportunity to move on from this, and they just did not do it.
Hey, if they somehow worked out to be Macho Man and Hogan again for the main event, and then had that whole Miss Elizabeth reuniting thing, I think that would have been fucking amazing. Like, you know, Mega Powers are at it again. You know, I don't know. That would have been great. That would have been a perfect send-off for Macho, but instead he was, like, further down on the card, you know, and Sergeant Slaughter just did I don't know. I'm a little Hulkster. I'm probably the littlest Hulkster and the biggest littlest Hulkster in before our time history. And that's not saying a lot, but it's saying a lot. Give yourself credit. It's saying a lot. Thank you. But like, even I didn't enjoy this that much. You know, like, I don't know. There's this was the worst Mania main event so far. I would say I had to really think about it, but like, I think so.
Like, even Bundy and Hogan was good. Like, that was a really good steel cage match.
Steel cage, fucking amazing. Like,
this was just like your typical Hogan match, which 7 Manias in. Like, if this was like the main event of WrestleMania 2, maybe I'd be, you know, playing a different song here. But like, it's been 7 years. Can we move on, please?
It's been 84 years.
That's a good meme.
Yeah. That's a good, great meme. Hey, if you got that meme, let us know in the comments. No, please don't do that. But let's get into our next segment. Dude, we're having. I'm gonna count 5 on the stroke meter for how many strokes we've had.
Tonight.
So many strokes, but that concludes this Mania at least. But we're not done with the episode. Let's get into our Mr. Mania. Welcome to Mr. Mania. Yeah, dude, I'm so excited to get into this. Basically, if you don't know what Mr. Mania is, essentially, who was the top dog of the Mania? Let's just roll with the punches. Let's roll with the stutters. Let's roll with the strokes. And I'm gonna roll with my Mr. Mania if you don't mind, Anthony.
Go
If
ahead.
you don't, can I interest you a little bit of Mr. Mania action?
Go
if you
right
will?
ahead.
Well, I would love to, and for this, I was gonna give it to Hogan. I even had a coin flip. I was like, I don't know what to do. I wanted to give it to Hogan, and I wanted to give it to someone else. And I coin flipped. It landed on Hogan, and I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not happy with that anyway. And so, my Mr. Mania is the Undertaker. I thought it was kind of integral. I think I had to do this. You know, it just felt right. And that's for you, Undertaker. That's for you, Mark.
Now that felt
I
right.
burp. Now that felt right, baby. No, but I felt like I had to give it. This is the birth of the streak, the unintentional streak, if you will. This is the birth of it, man. And he looked fucking amazing. I thought this was amazing. This was great. I could have given it to like Macho Man for the whole Miss Elizabeth thing again as well. But I think for the time being, iconic wise, this is the most iconic thing coming out of this Mania for me. It's just the start of the streak, Undertaker's streak, and you know, in such a great fashion, made him look super strong. So this is my Mr. Mania. Let's get to yours, Anthony. What do you have on the plate?
Well, I got to agree with you this week. I'm also going to give it to my favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker. You put it perfectly, my man. Like, this was the excellent presentation that you want to put on the big stage. You know, Undertaker, like we've been saying, nothing like we've ever seen up until this point. Paul Bearer, the entrance, putting the camera on the crowd. There's no selling, really acting like this undead zombie, which I think is just an amazing gimmick. And he plays it off so perfectly. Even with Jimmy Snuka selling for him, his offense is just so like zombie-like. There's no other way to put it. I mean, we've said it multiple times throughout the episode. It's just, it's not necessarily the fact that he had the best match on the card. It's more along the lines of his presentation was unlike anything that we've seen. And I feel like I'm rambling at this point. So ultimately, Mr. Mania goes to The Undertaker for both of us. But I threw in a little bit of a curveball, if you will. That is the weirdest
Second
clip of
Miss
Charlotte
Mania
Flair.
before our time history.
Yes, it is.
That is a very, very strange clip.
The second Miss Mania of all time, and it's on my end. You got yours a few weeks ago. I got mine this week, and it's goddamn Queen Sherry. Like, I was kind of hyping her up throughout this episode. Like, everything that she did with, you know, wanting Macho Man to win so that she kept her crown, costing Warrior the match at any cost, going on to beat up Macho Man and just berate him because he didn't win the match, getting beat up by Miss Elizabeth, thinking that's it for Queen Sherry on the night, and then coming out later in the show to join forces with the $1 Million Man, immediately just tagging on with another luxurious wrestler, going from the Queen to now maybe the $1 Million Woman. Maybe that will be her gimmick going forward. I don't know. Or do they split the profits? Are they now the $500,000 men and women? Like, is that what we're going for now? I don't know how this works, but Queen Sherry is now a part of this $1 Million regime. And because of this excellent storytelling, I had to give Mrs. Mania to good old Sherry.
Dude, great point, dude. If I had thought about it, man, Mrs. Mania for this would have been sensational Sherry. She's just sensational, dude. And like
She's
you said,
sensational.
she's kind of everywhere on this card, you know. And she's, you know, getting her. She's collecting her bags, if you will. She's hustling out there, collecting
Get that
her bags,
bag.
collecting that great moolah, if you will. That's a fucking great. That's a pretty good, great moolah pun. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But
Spider Moolah.
I'm going to Spider Moolah for Halloween. I've decided. I think I've gone as hard.
Yeah, the black mask, the little title belt, and everything. That Spider Moolah all the way. I'll go with
Spider
Jim
Mullet.
Neidhart with the pink hat. You go with Spider Mullet. Boom. There's Halloween.
Boom. There we go. And then we'll join forces, mega powers. That's the ultimate mega powers right there.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it is time for our final segment on the night. And it is our time to count every single one of all of our marbles. Whoa, hey, didn't see you there. It's time for all of the marbles, where we give our top 10 Mania matches for our running list. Nick, if you don't mind, I will start this off this time around.
I do mind, actually. I'm gonna take that up with HR. But you know what? You get
with HR.
I'm gonna take it up with Bad Chad from HR. Okay. And
Bad Chad.
whatever.
We all
see what
don't.
happens.
No one wants to deal with Bad Chad from
Bad
HR,
Chad.
but the Bad Chad. I will give my top 10 Mania matches first. Number 10, there's only going to be a few changes to the list, but relatively much of the same. Number 10, I gave to the Hart Foundation versus the Nasty Boys from this year's WrestleMania. I think you told a really nice story by the heels, kind of doing whatever they can to make sure that Jim Neidhart didn't get in the ring. Brett sold his ass off, and I love the finish. Number 9, Blue Blazer, Mr. Perfect. Again, just an excellent showcase of these masterful wrestlers. Number 8, still going strong, Ricky Steamboat versus Hercules Hernandez. Number 7, dipping down a little bit, but still a great match nonetheless, is the Rockers versus the Twin Towers. You also have the match that takes its place, which is another Rockers match, and that is the one from this year's Mania, going against the Barbarian and Haku from WrestleMania 7. We have number 5, and I think everything stays the same here. Yep. That's number 5, Adrian Adonis versus Roddy Piper from 3. Dream Team versus the British Bulldogs from Mania 2 is number 4. Number 3 is Hogan and Warrior from Mania 6. You have Hogan and Savage from Mania 5 as my number 2, and rounding off the top 10, number 1, Savage versus Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. That's my top 10. He was ready for it.
I was goddamn ready for it, but that's a great top 10 list. You know, fucking great that Blue Blazers making it on, especially Haku and Barbarian versus the Rockers. Great stuff. And starting off my marbles, I'm gonna go with my number 10, which is actually the Haku and Barbarian match. You didn't lie. You said it was a great match. It's a fucking good match, dude. I had to include it on the list, man. I'm having the more and more manias we do. Obviously, I'm having more and more of a hard time trying to put what my top 10 list is. If you noticed, Mr. Perfect versus Blue Blazer is number 9, which wasn't in my list last Mania, but it was before last Mania that match actually happened. I think I did some recounting, I did some remeasuring, and that's what I like about these lists. I can go back, I can change it. This is my own list. No one tells me what to do, brother. That's not going to work for me. But yeah, had to include it. I went back and watched it, and I thought this was a great match. Had to include it in the top 10. Number 8, Macho Man versus Ted DiBiase. Still think this holds up. Brainbusters versus Strikeforce for number 7. Still think that holds up. Just great wrestling overall. It's number 6, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, the main event from WrestleMania 3. Number 5, Ted DiBiase versus Jake Roberts. Still holds up. Ooh. Number 4, Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. Number 3, Dream Team versus British Bulldogs. Still loving this match. Number 2, Macho Man versus Ricky Steamboat. And number 1 it's just gonna. I think this is gonna stay my number 1 for the foreseeable future. I don't know if anything can top this. We'll see. Maybe something can. But Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man, my favorite match in WrestleMania history so far. Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat. It's a great match. But you know, I'm a little Hulkster, so I have to give it the edge up to Hulk Hogan. I have my biases here, but that's my top 10.
They're very interchangeable. I mean, you could go either way on that. Like, I was considering Hogan and Savage as my number 1 for the longest time, but I couldn't put it past Steamboat and Savage. But of course, you make a really good case for having that at number 1. Dude,
they both hold up as well as matches. Like, it's crazy. Like, you see these matches from the 80s and however many years, 40 years removed, and nearly 40 years removed, and they still hold up as great matches. It's fantastic to see. It's really fucking cool. But dude, that concludes this episode of Before Our Time. Number 7, baby, in the goddamn books. And we had a fun time, and we're glad we could bring you guys along with the journey. And we're actually good on time right now. We're not cutting it close. We're not cutting it to 2 hours, which is great. I'm having a fun time. I'm having a good time out of my cowboy hat. I'm doing my whole Macho Man shtick. And
Dude,
and
this was
it's
such
great
a
time.
good episode, like it always is here at the Tavern. And speaking of the Tavern, you need to support us because it goes such a long
You
way.
need to. You need to. Think about Uncle Sam, and he needs you. He needs you. He needs you.
He needs you to go on down to the turnbuckletavern.com, listen to our podcast on Spotify and Apple, watch us on YouTube and Twitch, go on our social medias, follow us everywhere, join the Discord, and buy our merch. We have Shot of Nostalgia merch that we can showcase here with some Tavern Daddies. You have your Anti-Taskmaster, and all of this stupendous stuff. Shot of Nostalgia is on the screen. Some Before Our Time merch coming your way, so stay on the lookout for that. We've got some good ideas for you, folks. So stay tuned. And also, of course, we always shout them out, but Shot of Nostalgia, they are doing some great work at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. Make sure to watch every single one of their episodes. I'm sure they will be back next week for an even better episode than it was this week.
Dude, yeah, man.
Which
Flashback
is saying a lot
Friday is
because they
one-
always have
one of my
great
favorite
episodes.
days. One of my favorite days of the Tavern is Flashback Friday because we have Shot of Nostalgia, and then directly after we have Before Our Time. All honestly, it's the biggest Shot of Nostalgia you can probably get all on the internet, and it's a great time, and we bring you guys along with it. So we always have a fun time doing this, and to know that you guys are enjoying it, enjoying the episodes, leave your feedback, comment down below, liking, subscribing, even watching a Before Our Time episode. We greatly appreciate that. We can bring you guys along for our pain and suffering, but also the great times and whenever they hit it out of the park too. So
Hell yeah.
it's always a really, really fun time. But Anthony, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's do it. On behalf of the Australian icon, I am the Hollywood Idol, signing off. We will see you next year at WrestleMania 8. But until then...
Brothers.